Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are back on the BJJ Fanatics podcast. My name is Joe. Huge honor for me to be here today with Johnny Tama, 2019 Black Belt No-Gi World Champion. Johnny Tama, how you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, bro? Good to see you again.
Man, my pal, Johnny, it's been, I haven't seen you in a couple of months. You're looking good. You're already back to fighting. How you feeling these days?
I'm feeling great, man. The quarantine was kind of stressful in the way that we put a lot of things on a hold. But as soon as I got this call from Seth, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. I've been training and I've been lifting. I've been staying in shape. Took some time off to rest up my injuries. Sometimes I feel like the jiu-jitsu competitors, they don't have a off season. So they just keep on grinding every weekend, going everywhere to fight, any open, any super fight. So I feel like the past 3 years I was just burning myself out, and now I'm gonna be more smart when it comes to picking my fights, and I'm only gonna show up to the big ones for now on.
What have you been working on during the lockdown and during quarantine? Because I know you've been, training and working out as much as you can. Is there anything you've been like trying to focus on with any kind of study?
Well,
You don't
I
have to
got
give away
my
your game plan or anything, but
no, it's cool. I don't mind, man. It won't change anything if they hear about my game plan. It won't change anything. The videos are out there, and then if someone wants to study me, they can just buy my DVDs and just study my ideas. So I was studying a whole bunch of Craig Jones DVDs. We even exchanged some conversations about this on the DM, and I was like, man, damn, I think I'm a fan of Craig Jones, because I'm not very like a fanatic guy when it comes to jiu-jitsu anymore. Like I'm more like, I worked so hard that my idols became my rivals. So I don't really, I'm a fanboy anymore. But if I was gonna say what's my favorite grappler in no gi right now, I'll say it's Craig Jones, hands down. He's just perfect grappling, submission oriented, and I really like it. So I was studying his game, and I was trying to implement his style on mine and figure out how they will connect. Also, I've been studying a lot of I've been not starting. I've been drilling a lot of like how to kill the key master guard, how to pass that guard, which is kind of like a pain right now. It became really popular because of Espen and Tommy. So I've been working on that a lot. I use it a lot where like you go 2-on-1 on the leg, and then you wrap your leg around to go for the matrix and all of those moves.
Mhm.
So I've been using that to drill it on bottom and to learn how to pass and not get your back taken from those positions. So I've been studying that. Then a lot of my foot stage on my fights with Jonathan Gracie on the overtime. I've been looking also at my super fight that I lost for ref decision on Edwin, that he got 2 submissions attempts, and well, that earned him the victory. He did this super cool Toriando pass to reverse triangle Kimura lock, and we were there for like basically all the fight. So I managed to escape, so which I was like trying to figure out how can I show a technique on how to escape that triangle more efficiently. Since I kind of figured out on being there, being inside of the triangle, I kind of figured out how to escape. So yeah, man, I've been studying, like I said, these things and just focusing on healing, man, basically.
When you go to you talked about a couple of things there that I would love to talk about, and a lot of cool guys, by the way, that are all on the site. Craig Jones, one of my favorites. Edwin's a super cool guy. Jonatas, super cool guy. When you
These guys are the best grapplers in the world. We are the best grapplers in the world. So it's good to study myself against them, because I can improve.
For sure, man. When you go to watch video of your own fights, is that difficult? I know that's something that a lot of people struggle with is the ego behind that. You know what I mean? Being able to watch themselves make mistakes and be honest about like, man, I really messed this up. Is that something that has been difficult for you, or is that something that's always been easy?
Not at all, man. Not at all. Sometimes, depending on the moment, I will go and watch it right away. Someone record, and if it was kind of like a tough L, I'll take my time to suck it up and then sit down and watch it. But honestly, last year, my aunt's husband, my uncle, he's a sports psychologist. And last year we were working. We started working around June, May, June, And he sent me this task, man, and I really didn't like it because he asked me, "Hey, I need you to go back to your 10 previous losses, okay? And I need you to watch all the fights that you lost, and I need you to write it down, the moment, the minute, the second that you made the mistake, and what was the mistake like, and why did you make the mistake?" And then he also asked me, "Where was your mind that moment?" Okay, so when he sent me to study those footage, that's when the reality hit me, because I started to like pay attention more and more and more on like, okay, I'm doing this wrong, I need to improve this, and well, filling the holes, right? So you see where your mistakes are, and then you can start working, because if you don't know what you're doing wrong, then you don't have the opportunity to improve. You know, you're just gonna think you're always doing everything right, and that's not how it is. So I went and looked at that, and it was really hard to swallow, and I was finding myself losing a lot of the matches the first minute.
Really?
And the first minute, because, well, it'll be a weak guard pull, a loose guard pull, and then the opponent will get an advantage or will get the two, and then they'll pull me behind. And then you see me fighting really hard, but in the black belt division, most of the guys, the moment they score something up on you, that's it, bro. They're not gonna try to submit you in the IBGF. They're not gonna try to, beat you up anymore. They're happy with the two advantages and one advantage, and that's it. Let's just run the whole match and figure it out. So, well, I learned that from checking these mistakes up, and then I was able to come up with a better plan for the guard pool. And I actually implement a new specific training that I don't know if someone have done it before. I'm not gonna say I invented it, but I came with this idea when I was training for the Pan Am's no gi.
Which
And
you eventually, which you did win.
I took second in no gi pants, actually, and I fought the division above.
That's right.
Yeah, I lost 2-1 in advantages. It was a pretty tight match with a champion. And anyways, the drill goes like this: a specific training. We got to New York, and I was training with Roberto and Beta for Pan Am's, right? We were preparing. And I was like, guys, like, I don't really feel like going hard right now, because it's a week into the tournament and I just flew in. So let's do specific training as a game, and we're going to be able to capitalize, whether it's the advantage or the two. And if we start winning from the first moment, that's going to make my opponent prone to make more mistakes, right? So we start drilling, man. Not drilling, sorry, specific training. And it goes like this. So if we double guard pull, the first person to come up for the advantage wins the specific training. So the person that didn't pull guard, the person that pulled guard and got to pull guard properly gets out of the training because he got an advantage score. So that means he lost the match. So then the next person will come in, and then let's say the next person goes and lands a takedown in the double guard pull. Okay, he took the two, the person that did the mistake out. And then we were taking turns, and we were doing this for 45 minutes, and we were actually laughing and having fun, but improving at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And well, Beta won. Roberto won, and I took second at the black belt. So Roberto's a brown belt, silver and gold, and Beta gold. So it was like, okay, we did great. So we developed this training. I kept on using it throughout the year, and then eventually afterwards, I kind of won all the guard pulls and all of the shooting for the guard pulls, and that's kind of like the techniques that I show in the Fanatics DVD, because it's a really good specific training to use.
Would your and I would love to talk about the instructional series that we have with you in a minute, but that's a really interesting statement. Would you say now that you're at the black belt level and your idols have become your rivals, you're fighting, all these top guys, winning black belt world championship level events, is more of your improvement coming from like learning how to like manage a match and like score first rather than learning maybe like a technique or a position? Is it more about evolving your strategy than evolving your technique, or do they go hand in hand?
Hand in hand, but mindfulness.
What do you mean by mindfulness?
Mindfulness is like full awareness, and my problem was that, well, since I got my black belt, the first month I was fighting Gianni, Paulo Millao. I was fighting all these guys that I look up to, and I was able to win some. And I was like, okay, I'm set to do good stuff, but I couldn't keep up. For example, I'm gonna recall this day the Abu Dhabi trial for New York, in 2017. Okay, so the absolute 77, I win the first, go the second against Miyao. I beat Miyao, and I lost the focus after I beat Miyao. And so then I went to fight Johnny, and then he beat me. So I was like, God damn, I missed this. So then I keep on fighting. I was like, well, this is the biggest proof. My idols now are my rivals, so I need to work harder. I'm in this level. I need to kind of like, it was a slap on my face kind of when Johnny beat me. Because also, like, you can see Johnny really smiling on the back when I beat Miyao, and I was like, I think he's like, I beat this one. He was like, I won this one. But anyways, I went on, man, and I made a lot of mistakes, and it came to my head that it wasn't the techniques that weren't there. It was more of my concentration. I wasn't able to put 100%, 120% into the match. Sometimes I'll be 80% into the match. And that little room that you're living of not focusing on the match or not being in the present moment was costing me a lot of matches, and it cost me a lot of matches until I start working with my uncle. He kind of started training me mentally, and he showed me a couple of techniques, and we didn't do like a long ass work. It was more like a couple of sessions, and we figured out. And then I also was reading this book that I highly recommend. It's called The Mindful Athlete. It's in Amazon. It's really cheap. It's like $12. You'll be in your house in 3 days. Man, that I read that book plus the mental training, and that kind of like just made me a better competitor, definitely, from 0 to 100.
Let's move back, and because we brought him up a couple of times, talk about your series that are on the site bjjfanatics.com. Available now from Johnny Tama is the aggressive spider guard and the aggressive open guard no gi.
No.
You are really, really good at your open guard is killer. Your sweeps, your back takes, your submissions. Both of these products go through one in the gi. Obviously, the spider guard is in the gi, and then the open guard no gi is obviously no gi. Both of them go through your entire system. How you pull, how you set everything up, how you get people moving, how you then start sweeping, submitting, getting to the back. When did you find yourself really starting to play a lot of open guard in your game? Was it just from early on? Was it a decision, or was it just? How did that become the Johnny Tama style, aggressive open guard?
Well, I started playing. I wasn't a guard player at all when I started training jiu-jitsu. My first month, I was trying to take down and do takedowns, and then trying to pass guard because I didn't understood the concept of what guard was. Kind of learn a little bit of close guard, and I kind of knew that there was this guard called the Riva and Spider guard. 11 years ago, that was like to go game. It still is, but it has evolved to hybrid guards and all of that thing. So it caught my attention to see Michael Lange winning worlds playing Spider guard, man. It was like, wow, this guy's just flawless. He's just, no one passes his guard, strong grips, very focused, moved the right timing. It was like, wow. So it caught my attention, and then I just started, researching whatever we had in that time on YouTube. And the moment I kind of like saw that, I was like very intrigued, and I started studying. So then years went on, and I was making a lot of mistakes. You don't know, you have goals, holes in your game, you don't know. So I was like always asking questions. My professor, we were under alliance, so we have access to all these world champions that came in, and then I will ask any question. I'll be like, hey, how do I do the La Riba? How do I do Spider? I'm finding myself getting passed on this way and that way, and then, man, with the years, I was able to put the puzzle together, and then I came up with this. I'm not saying my guard is the best, but I feel like it's really tough, and it has a lot of layers, and it's like what they told me is that a guard can be passive. They explained me this. If you're playing guard, that doesn't mean that you need to be passive or you're just relaxing. It means that you're using your back in the ground to be more aggressive. So I was like, okay, well, that means I have to aim for on-platter triangles and armbars. I'm like, hell yeah, but you cannot only think that you're going to try to submit from the guard. You got to bait them. And I was like, bait them? Yeah, well, if you go for a soup, I'm going to know that you're trying to submit me. So I'm going to be aware, and I'm going to tuck my elbows, and that's it. You're not going to be able to soup me. So you got to be able to open that up. And I was like, okay, I understand. So I started to think, well, jiu-jitsu is all about baits, how I get you to give me what I want. It's making you think that I want the opposite. So I
Mm-hmm.
started like kind of like trying to sweep people, and then whoop, there will be an open for like the leg to slide into the omoplata, for example. I'll be like, oh, nice. And then that'll make the guard more aggressive because you're not only trying to sweep. There's a lot of people that are really focused on sweeping, but they don't sweep. Or there's people that are always trying to sweep, but they don't sweep. And we can see that a lot. I'm not going to say names, but there's this black belt that's really good. He actually plays last year at Worlds in the black belt division in the gi. And, well, you see him playing guard hardcore, but only submitting, never sweeping. So it's very interesting, you know, how he lays that out. Or like sometimes I get frustrated because if I can sweep the guy from the guard, then I want to sweep him and pass his guard and, you know, do the rest from top, because one way or the other. So I kind of figured out that this is kind of the style I like, and that's what I want to play and show people, you know, like that you can be really, really aggressive from your butt on the ground, and you don't see me like kind of stalling or butt scooting there and not doing much. I'm trying to really go for something. So that's why I'm not like a berimbolo only guy. I try berimbolo, I try reverse riva, I try butterfly, I try half guard, I try whatever the outcome is. I try to use it, be aggressive from there. And well, in the instructionals, I'm able to show it, you know, and I feel like if you see the nogi one, even though it's a nogi instructional, you're gonna be able to put it in the gi, because what I learned with the years, for example, I also got to exchange time with Cyber, and Cyber told me, man, if you're doing nogi and gi, you need to find a way that when you're training with the gi, you're also training your nogi. So you gotta find new grips, maybe not grab the material that much, but find other anchors. And with time, I just find out that, man, gi is no gi, but you just have more places to grab. So like now I'm using weird grips. For example, I use the seam on the gi here, and we have the lapel, right? The crosses like that, and then there's a seam in the rib area, so you can grab that as a handle when you're playing half guard or when you're passing on the X pass. There's like a diversity of grips that you can get from the gi. So if you understand no gi well and you kind of like feel like you're not good in the gi, well, maybe you can put a little imagination and figure out where to grab, because you have where to grab. So I don't know. I just always try to be going forward.
I've heard it said, somebody once told me, anywhere there's a seam, there's a good grip. And I always try to remember that whenever I'm training. In no gi, you were talking about your no gi series, which is a fantastic series, the aggressive open guard no gi. It's very difficult for some people to make an open guard work in no gi. They feel like because they don't have the grips that they're so used to, it can become really, really difficult. But we saw you really successful with moves like the berimbolo. You hit a berimbolo in the last minute of the World Championships. Usually a move in the gi. You know, a lot of people don't bust it out in no gi as well. What do you think? Is it just the aggression? Is it the way you're training? What's making the difference so that you can have these similar guards? Is it both gi and no gi? Is it just having that in your mind training all the time?
I feel like people when we're our professors, when we're teaching, they're trying to make it easy for everybody, so they don't go you know, on the depth, on the position, or like on how to get there. Sometimes they're just like, hey, let's go, let's throw arm bars, or hey, let's go, we're gonna learn how to pull close guard. But then there's so much more of what jiu-jitsu and guard is, you know. So for example, when I'm playing nogi guard, I know that I don't have material, so you know that makes the game a little bit harder, because we only have, for example, if I'm sitting on my butt right now and I'm looking at you and you're standing, well, what do I have? What's closer to my reach? Well, I have your legs. But every time I'm looking for one of your legs, you kick away. So then maybe I need to grab the opposite side where you're kicking away so you don't get to kick. For example, sit-up guard in no-gi is very common. De la Riva guard is very common. Reverse de la Riva. Sorry, my bad. Sit-up guard, reverse de la Riva, single leg X guard, and half guard are the most common guards in jiu-jitsu, in no-gi grappling, right? De la Riva is kind of like very hard and easy very hard to establish and easy to clear if it gets stuck. But I went to a seminar with Lepri, and he brought this approach with the gi. Matter of fact, he showed it with the gi, where I was sit-up guard or butterfly guard, and then my opponent was standing. But every time I was trying to get a grip, my opponent would run. So then he came up with this inside grip, you know, because let's say my opponent is giving me, I'm sitting and my opponent is giving me the right leg in front of me, right? So that means that my left arm will be the right one to stand up with a single leg, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But that I call outside sit-up guard. And that's the one that you can pull him into reverse de la Riva. Okay? But what is a reverse de la Riva? It's just de la Riva in the inside.
Yeah.
So let's tweak that up. And instead of grabbing the right leg that is in front of me with my left arm, which is outside single or outside sit-up, he wraps the right arm around the right leg and then goes for the grip on the ankle. So that kind of like closes the distance and don't let the guy run away. And then you can set up reverse de la Riva, whatever you want, chair guard, sit-up guard. So when I learned that, it kind of like, oh, that was the layer I was missing, because in Nogi, you don't really get much grips, man, especially if you're sitting on your butt. The guy is always posturing and pushing your shoulders away or lifting your feet and pushing you to like make you rock and they open it up. So when I learned that up, I was like, damn, this is the missing detail I was looking for. And it clicked my guard. And well, now in Nogi, I use it a lot. And then once you have the control of that little leg, the guy can run. So that means that he's going to probably lower his base and start playing your game. So I feel like that detail in the DVD really, really marks a difference in my whole game. It opens me up for reverse de la Riva berimbolo, outside berimbolo. And most of the time when I'm berimbolo, people run away, right? Because it's easy. But they ended up giving you single legs. So, and that's Nogi, kind of like wrestling, right? So I adapt these styles, you know, and put them together, like a gi style with a Nogi, like with a wrestling type of thing.
Do you think so? I know that we have people listening who might be thinking, oh, this is a series, maybe it's got a lot of inverting or berimbolos or things that maybe like an older guy or a bigger guy usually isn't as comfortable with. Do you think these moves are more, do you think your style would fit onto like an older grappler or a bigger grappler?
I feel like it depends on the person. You know, I know older grapplers, they're really flexible. Shout out to my friend Claudio Cañive. He's friends with Michael Zenga as well. He won Master Awards in Nogi Purple Belt this year. And oh my God, he can bolo, man. So it depends, you know. Jiu-Jitsu is supposed to be adaptable, you know, for the weaker or like the person that's not fit. So I feel like if you see in that DVD, well, you gotta be able to pick up something. You know, if you pick up 1, 2, 3 details, you don't necessarily need to pick up everything. You know, from these techniques. It's more about the concept that you can learn and understand. I also play a lot of chair guard in the DVD, and that doesn't require much flexibility, to be honest.
I wanted to ask you about this. So I've seen, you know, chair guard here and there a little bit, but I've never seen somebody, one, go into as much detail on one of our series as I saw you go into. Maybe they have. I haven't seen all of our stuff. We have a couple hundred products. And two, somebody, you use it super, super effectively. People might not understand what you mean when you say chair guard. Can you kind of tell them about what chair guard is? Because this is a position that I think that, you know, you're one of the best at.
Chair guard, it's everywhere. So chair guard is actually not like the guard itself. I will say it's like an accessory of your guard. So why an accessory? Well, for example, I was just saying that we have the outside single, the outside sit-up guard or the inside sit-up guard. That's in my DVD. And then what happened is when your opponent is passing the guard in Nogi, he doesn't have the Toreando grips anymore, right? So he, in order to pass, puts one leg in the middle, and that opens up for a knee cut or a folder.
Yeah, like a headquarters position, a lot of people call it. Yeah, or maybe like a split squat, some people call it.
So when you get to the headquarters position or split squat position, your leg in between gets lazy, and people don't use it. And normally, they try to aim to hook the leg and make a half guard from there. But that's where the problem comes from, because your knee line, he already passed your knee line when you do that. So that means you're already being on a knee slice, knee cut. But if you keep your knee up to your chest when they fold this leg, because let's say they're passing de la Riva and then they stuff the leg, so headquarters, then you have that leg in between your legs. Most people don't use it. And the reason why is because it's not something that people teach that much, because it's like secret, you know, not like a secret, but nowadays it's not a secret, but you know how like some black belts high level always save some detail for themselves on the pocket, and then they don't say much. They just kind of like just go there and not say anything. So I figured out this by
it happens. I'm hoping to end that with BJJ Fanatics, but it does happen.
I mean, when I'm teaching an instructional or a seminar, I'm trying not to keep any details on my pocket. I'm much rather just give it out, because I understand how hard it is to learn things or like learn the good stuff. So anyways, the whole deal is that this chair guard or this accessory of the headquarter position that I'm using, it helps me pushing him over me. So bringing him over, and then I can invert underneath. And if they're sitting too heavy, because yeah, they kind of like get super low on the squat, and then you don't get to bring him over, then you use your same shin that the guy is resting on, because they sit on that leg. They want to smash that leg. They want to be heavy on you, and you can push him to tilt him back. And that tilting him back will make him go forward, because he doesn't want to put his butt on the mat, because he knows that you might get bolo. He might get bolo. So when they kind of like hop back, you get the momentum to kick the chair and then push him forward, you know. So it works like a chair, you know. You're sitting in the chair. If someone pushes you from the bottom of the chair, you're going to kind of like fall forward. And if someone pushes you back, you're going to fall on your butt, right? So it works the same way. You just got to be able to figure it out. And well, once that thing happens, you open a whole war of options, because you have options when you push him back, and you have options when you push him over. So when you push him back, you can burn bolo, you can collect the other leg. When you push him back, people try to drive the knee in between, kind of like to further pass in surf your position. You can go to saddle from there, or bird trap. And then, if they come over you, you get the single leg, you get that Cobrinha sweep in the gi that he did to Queixinho in the Pan Am's finals. I'm quoting this up so you guys can see a good example.
Yeah, for sure.
Queixinho versus Cobrinha in the finals of Pan Am's is a perfect example of what chair guard is like. So, man, it's very applicable, like I say, gi and no gi. So I'm just using it. And Saturday against Ethan, I was able to kill the floating pass with that. Every time he was trying to flow over me, I was like, whoop, send him to fly. And then, with Ethan, I adapted, you know, because in that case, I had to use like a modified short hook single leg X guard with the chair.
Yeah, almost like a shin to shin with the other leg.
It will be more like shin to hamstring.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I hear what you're saying.
The chair guard in between, right? The chair guard, like I said, it's in sit-up guard, it's in single leg X guard, it's in De La Riva, in reverse De La Riva. So it's just having the leg in between and knowing how to use it to push him back or push him over. And that kind of prevents a lot of the leg entanglements, because, you know, I'm under him and under his leg, so he doesn't get to wrap himself around my leg. So it's a pretty good position that, man, I put my money on it. There's 100 different transitions. It doesn't matter what you do, it's going to you. It's a really strong one.
Man, and we saw it work so well last year at the No-Gi World Championships. It was awesome. Took first place, the first ever black belt from Ecuador to win a world championship. First ever.
It's quite the first person to speak Spanish.
No, really?
Yeah, for the record, man.
Man, that's insane. That's crazy. Congratulations.
Yeah. We have people placing and all of that, but we never had a world champion that comes from Latin America. So I'm very happy that my people, you know, support me, and they put a lot of hope in me, and in now Roberto as well, because Roberto is also from Ecuador. So, like, I feel like right now is a good time to just keep on pushing, and also show that there's jiu-jitsu is not only American or Brazilian. And, you know, it puts me like happy, because there's Australian guys doing it, like Lankla Giles and Craig, or Keith Dale in his time. And then we have Tommy and Espen in Norway. Like, you know, I feel like we're like the rebels. We're the little ones that are trying to make a name for ourselves in this Brazilian American dominant sport.
Man, I would love that. The more places we see pop up, I feel like that's when we get so many inventive styles. You know what I mean? Look at, like, you know, you mentioned Craig and Lachlan in Australia and how much they've, you know, come up with new innovations, and they really help put leg locking on the map, especially Craig with his first ADCC performance. There just wasn't anybody leg locking like that at the time. And then Lachlan, obviously, with what he did in the Absolute. And so I love, yeah. And then I see, you know, you guys from Latin America and Tommy and those guys. I know that there's some really tough guys coming out of Japan as well. It's all over the world, man. I can't wait for it to keep growing.
No, jiu-jitsu is not going to stop growing. I feel like I've been training for 11 years, and we're not nearly as close to where we were 11 years ago. We're like 100 years away from 10 years ago, even though it doesn't sound logical, but you know where I'm coming from, right? Mm-hmm. So we're really far away from that. And I feel like in the next 10 years, since we have so much exposure and techniques, and we have this access to all the information that the black belts they've been working, and it's just easy, you know. I remember it would be super hard for me to figure out how Michael Zenga was playing Spider Guard, or what was the grips or setups, you know. But now you have the option, so we're very lucky. We live in a good time to learn jiu-jitsu.
How did you used to study as a, you know, young jiu-jitsu student in Ecuador? What did that mean to study jiu-jitsu?
Well, there were DVDs on the time, but they were rare in Ecuador because we don't actually import too many things because of some rules. So we're like, don't import. So anytime anyone will go to the United States, they will bring DVDs of Eduardo Teles, which was one of the first DVDs out there. Cobrinha. You remember that old one Cobrinha had? Man, that was like, wow, it's like mind-blowing. Cobrinha showing how to go to the back from close guard when your opponent was on his feet. And I was like, wow, you can do that. It was like so exciting, dude. And well, that's why I eventually went to train with Cobrinha too, because I saw that DVD. So or matches, I'll sit and repeat the matches and be like, okay, he did that, and try to talk to my friends that we were watching together and be like, okay, let's try this. And then we'll go to the gym and be like, Professor, we saw this. How can we try to do it? And, you know, thank God we had like a decent jiu-jitsu skill professor, and that was able to understand where we're coming from and explain it better and show us. And also, I feel like I was always curious to improve, so I would always go to my coach and ask him questions. So he told me one day, man, actually, I got to thank you because your enthusiasm made me better, because I needed to answer my student, because I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't know that. I'm not going to teach you that, or that shit. I'm not going to tell you that. Instead, I went home and I was looking up YouTube for hours and figuring it out, and now I have it. So he'll come the next day and he'll be like, you ready? Let's go. And then we'll spend time in the lab. I think nothing beats the drilling when you're trying to adapt new stuff to your game, you know. So we'll be there in the gym, drilling in the lab for hours in class. But I feel like if there's a will, there's a way, you know.
Somebody asked, we took questions in the BJJ Fanatics Facebook group. Everybody, please feel free to join. One of the questions here from Stefano Mendoza said, please ask him which jiu-jitsu competitors he studied the most. It sounds like Cobrinha is definitely on that list.
Man, Cobrinha, no cap. I have love and hate for Cobrinha because he was really rude to me when I was training with him. But I get it now where he was coming from. He see the talent in me. He was just trying to push me. It was really tough, man. I was kind of spoiled when I started training, and I didn't understand how much of sacrifice you need to make to be at a certain level. You know, I couldn't understand that, and now I do. So, man, Cobrinha definitely, and then Michael Zenga. Then, I mean, I'll say the people that came from the TT, the Teles and Terere generation, all those students that blow up after the split of Alliance, then they eventually became Atos, they became Checkmate Alliance, and Brasa. So I'll say Galvao, Cobrinha, Michael Zenga, Lucas. I would love to watch Kron Gracie because he was just the basic jiu-jitsu done in the mats. Like Leandro, Felipe Pena is one of my all-time favorites. All these guys, you know, the champs. Like even like not so much of a champ. Teles, man. Teles had like he probably didn't win all the titles that you know he deserved to win, but he was an innovator because Well, the story says that he would go to TT kind of late and without warming up, and then he would just jump in the Shark Tank, with Lucas Leite, Cobrinha, Michael Angie, Rafa Mendes was there sometimes too. And then he would just no warm up, just go there, get beat up. And then they say that this is how he developed his Toro guard style, because he was just getting beat up or his guard passed, that he just started turning his back and rolling and making them roll with him in the scramble. So all of these players that I'm mentioning and quoting right now are like the ones that inspired me 10 years ago. And then there are some still up to date, competing or fighting or teaching, and I'm still looking for them. And, it's just good because, man, the evolution that happened on TT in that core in 2005, 8, it just blew up jiu-jitsu what it is today, It made it what it is today. The evolution. Terere came out with a leg drag, man.
Yeah, the Terere style, I don't think I think now people are starting to realize just how innovative and how much he influenced, because so much of the modern game and so much of what people see as like sport jiu-jitsu is Terere jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
He's one of the forbidden ones, People are forgetting about him. Sorry, for one of the ones that is being
forgotten. Yeah.
Forgotten. So, but man, you see Galvao's jiu-jitsu is a replica of Terere,
Yeah.
And with Cobrinha and the things that these guys made jiu-jitsu more serious too. They made it
like professional. I agree.
Yeah, they created like the drill. I think these guys were like the Cobrinha and Galvao, because they were in charge. Cobrinha and Galvao were in charge of TT, because Teles wasn't really like a manager. He was just more like a playboy, He just rich guy that invested money and loved jiu-jitsu and would go do it for fun. But Galvao and Cobrinha were there in the gym working and figuring out systems. And man, Cobrinha says, I have a recipe, and this is the recipe to success. So follow it. And sometimes that can be stressful because I like to be more loose and go with the flow. But there is a recipe, man. And it's hard work. It's drilling. It's studying. It's like asking yourself if that's correct. If training partners exchanging ideas. That's like what make champions.
I have a question here from somebody else in the group. Steve McDykel asks, can you ask him about his thoughts on the other no-gi promotions? So I'm just going to throw some no-gi promotions out here, and, if you have an opinion about them, feel free to give it. First one, biggest one, ADCC.
Well, ADCC is the Olympics of the game, so one of my goals as a jiu-jitsu practitioner since I started is being there, so I hope I can make it. I'm working my best to get there next year. I hope I can make it. I like the setup. The rules is pretty interesting. How they don't have points the first half, and then how hard it is to establish a takedown. It's not easy to score a takedown either. So that changed the game, kind of like makes it more grappling wrestling style.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but for ADCC, for it to be a takedown, you have to take the person down and put their back flat on the mat. You have to pin there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a nippon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like getting an established nippon. And it's really hard, man. That's why also in ACC, you don't see that many takedowns, but you see a lot of back takes. Mm-hmm. Because the people just run away from that. And then jiu-jitsu athletes are more likely to capitalize the back take. So I love that about ACC. I hope that, the jiu-jitsu grappling scene evolve more and practice more wrestling. So then when we see these people fighting the black belts, the jiu-jitsu black belts, we can see also a better showcase of wrestling. Like, for example, Canudo and Gary Tono, I think that's one of the best matches wrestling-wise talking in ACC in the past 10 years.
I became a small meme after that fight.
Oh, yeah, you're sitting there like...
Yeah, no, man. Well, my job at the time was like, Michael and Bernardo were like, go mat side and update the Facebook group with everything that's happening. And I don't know if you've seen the match, but there's a lot that happens. And so I'm just like, I'm on my phone, like trying to explain to people what the heck Gary Tonin versus Hanato Kanuto looks like. And so it looks like I'm just on my phone, not caring. No, I'm picking up on everything that's going on. Yeah, exactly. I have like 6 eyes. I have like 4 mirrors set up. No, I was very invested.
Trying to write down what's happening on that match, because that match was fireworks, dude. And that match, I saw it live, and it really inspired me to win Nogi Worlds. I was like, hell, man. I feel like they have like this barrier or like lines. I don't know how they call them to not let the public go into the mats or anything. And dude, I felt so excluded because man, I always hang out with like the world champs or like my professor have been world champions. So, you know, I felt like I belong there, you know, ever since. But feeling that line there of separation, excluding me, I was like, hell no, man, this sucks. I'm not supposed to be sitting here in the stairs. I'm supposed to be inside. And, you know, that kind of gave me more drive to go and win Nogi Awards because I was hungry. And it was in the same venue, man. Nogi Awards was in the same venue. So it kind of like, I was like, oh man, well, I didn't do ACC, but I won this one at least at the end of the year. Fuck it. I was really stoked. So yeah, man, ACC is one of my dreams, and I feel like it's kind of like ultimate goal, you know, to for every grappling artist.
What do you think about, I feel like there's a big rise in no-gi super fight organizations. A good example might be Submission Underground, where we see the Chael Sonnen organization, where we see like Craig fighting a lot. What do you think about these kind of super fights?
Man, I feel like at this point,
and fight to win, obviously. Let me put fight to win in there, obviously.
Oh, I mean, let's go with Soup Underground. I really like this setup because they were already doing the no public thing, I think, right?
The what? I'm sorry?
Weren't they doing the no public thing? It was just...
Yes. Yeah, they started up, they still had an event, a month ago.
That's kind of cool, man. And also I like the fact that there's grappling in the UFC Fight Pass, man. And the thing is, like, Jiu-Jitsu wasn't getting that, you know, promotion that it deserved on the UFC or anything. And then, you know, I'm glad that Chael put that together. I don't know much of the rules. I think it's just submission only.
I think it's submission only.
I mean, man, it's great. I mean, the thing about the submission only is that you don't see too much exchanges for takedowns or for sweeps or for passing. It's more like leg entanglements or, you know. I mean, I'm not saying that's, but it's everything, but that's kind of average what's happening, you know. And the IBGF, we have like people fighting for the takedown because they don't want to give points, or fighting for the guard because they don't want to get the guard pass or retaining, you know. So I think whatever makes Jiu-Jitsu grow or have more exposure, I'm totally down. I totally love it and support it. And I feel like Sub on the Ground is in the Fight Pass. So like, if you're fighting there, you kind of like, you're going to get like a big exposure. I would say even bigger than being on Flow Grappling, for example.
Man, it could be. So what do you think about, to bring up another organization, even though I know they're not really holding jiu-jitsu events anymore, EBI and like EBI style events? I know you did the one that we did with Fanatics. Or if you don't want to talk about EBI, combat jiu-jitsu, which they're doing now with the 10th Planet guys. Would you do combat stuff?
Not from the same place. So, man, no, nothing. I have no shade to throw against the overtime or EBI rules. They're just another setup for the game. It's just another game. And well, I'm not a pro in that game, and I actually never trained that game that much, except for that one time with Fanatics. I was kind of nervous about that, but you know, it's a learning experience. I think nothing bad. I just think it's kind of weird, man, that you get someone on your back or your arm. It's just not like realistic in that matter. It's kind of like, let's say, I don't know. It's just weird for me. I'm much rather like,
for example, what you mean, like if me and you were to fight, it would be very difficult for me to take your back. But if I can wait 10 minutes and not get tapped, I'm going to get a chance on your back.
And that's what makes the 10 minutes lame, because, man, in my case, the guy that I fought didn't fight for 10 minutes. He was just like,
oh, I don't know about that. Jonatas. I thought you guys were putting together a show, and I enjoyed watching the tournament.
I mean, I feel like, and this is his word, because he talked to coach afterwards, and then he said like, well, I wasn't trying too hard to score, to pass, or to anything, because I knew we were going to get overtime. So the first time that I fought this type of rules, I was going ham. I was going crazy. And then I got to the overtime, and then I was like worn out. And this guy was still fresh because he didn't actually put his efforts. So I feel like it's kind of, it makes not so technical grapplers have an opportunity to beat good grapplers.
Would you do combat jiu-jitsu?
Not against it. I think it's cool, man. A lot of people complain about jiu-jitsu being kind of soft, but the slapping makes it tougher, man. I've been actually training myself some MMA sparring lately. And then when we switched from MMA sparring to jiu-jitsu sparring, man, jiu-jitsu sparring is so fun compared to that shit, man. So
It's a lot less.
hurts, man. Getting slapped on the face, palms open, dude. It hurts like striking because you get the heel on the wrist, and that hurts, man. I don't know if I would personally do it, but if I've been getting calls up to go, I'll probably take it.
Man, awesome. I maybe just one or two more questions before we get out of here.
My favorite so far, to be honest. You asked me about Fight to Win, and the thing that I like about Fight to Win is that they count whether it's a light submission attempt or a hardcore submission attempt, and that will determine who wins. So most likely you're gonna see the guys fighting for the 10 minutes to submit for real, not to wait for overtime to win a match.
I hear you.
So that's pretty much what I mean. If you ask me to put in levels, well, for me, number one, ACC, then Fight to Win, and then Sub on the Ground.
Where does IBJJF come in?
I feel like it's another sport.
Really?
Yeah, because submission grappling is another sport, man. It's not the same, in my opinion.
Can you talk about that? Why is it not the same thing? Because I feel like a lot of people, even people who do jiu-jitsu, would consider them the same. But you're somebody who, because of your success, because of your high level, you have a different viewpoint on it, a different way of looking at it.
Well, like I said, it's another game, man, because in these rules over here, well, ACC and IBJJF can be related since they actually have a point system, but yet ACC still have the half of the time where there's no points.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you take me down there, well, you sit in my body and work from my guard, But in the IBJJF, you don't have that room. There's I would say it's harder, man, and not talking shit upon anybody, but there's few exceptions that have been able to be successful in both.
That's true. Definitely true.
Some guys go from sub only to IBJJF, and then they encounter the point game. So they kind of they might lose by an advantage, or they went all in submission, but then the positional grappler beat him. So I would say sub only versus positional jiu-jitsu, and this is where it makes me debate too, because I was told that sometimes it's better position over submission, but in these rule sets, it's submission over position.
And that's interesting. And so you're saying because of that flip in that important strategy, now it's basically like two different sports. Man, interesting. You make a good point.
It's like there's different type of soccer, for example. There's soccer where 11 players play, and they have certain rules in certain time, and there's a futsal where only 4 players play, and it's another sport, futsal. It's not soccer. It's not the same, but it's still the same concept because we're still playing with a ball, trying to score a goal. So in this case, again, if you're a submission artist, you might be able to capitalize a lot of submissions in the IBJJF because you catch people defending points. So you see the opening, But in these ones that sub only, the guys don't fight too hard, and then they don't give you that room, because they're like, okay, if I'm defending a single leg too hard, I might open it for my back. But if I defend a single leg and I sit in my butt and I'm facing this guy, well, no points were scored against me, and I didn't get my guard pass, and I didn't get my back take. I have more opportunities to face him here than if I'm defending the single leg and I turn around. He took my back. I went out of the mat, 2 points. So I think they're different sports based on one martial art.
What is something off of the mat, outside of martial arts, that you like to learn about? It doesn't have to be, something you want to be the best at, but what's just an off the mat hobby that you like improving at?
Well,
it's funny. This is almost always the hardest question that I've asked.
No. There's a lot of things that I like to do, man. For example, before I started training jiu-jitsu, I was into super into games. I play Pro Evolution Soccer, I play NBA, I play whatever video game there was, Call of Duty. And then I put that side of me in the hole for 10 years. I literally sold my first PS2 that I bought myself really hard because in Ecuador, everything is taxed double. So whatever it costs here, it costs the double back there. And on top of that, we're not talking about a third world economy. So it's kind of more expensive, more valuable. So I sold my PlayStation to buy a gi, bro. So I put that side of me in the hole. But for example, in the quarantine, I was able to dedicate myself to kind of enjoy a little bit more of like games, going for walks, hikes. I've been enjoying reading. I've been trying to learn binary, like trading. My friends got me into it. I wasn't really, I was kind of looking for a hobby too. And then I was like, man, like, you want to look for a hobby that might get you some profit, try the trading on binary. And I've been doing that. I don't really like to go for other sports because like I'm at this point where like I'm 27, and if I fall on my knees, I used to like to skate, but I can't stop because, man, a hit on your knees might put you out of the competition or like on your wrist. So I kind of like put that on the side. But I really like to skate. I used to go longboard with my friends, biking. I've been biking a lot around. So, man, I try to always do something different. I'm always down to try new things. Nothing in particular, like I said, just this trading binary thing where you exchange currency. And, well, I've been watching the courses. And actually the courses that this academy offers online, they talk a lot about the mental part. So I really like that part. So if my friend was like, man, you're a strong competitor, you have a strong mindset, then this mindset you can apply to make money. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I've been doing that. I've been just chilling, man, resting. Man, honestly, I've been going hard for 3 years in the United States, traveling coast to coast, back and forth, that I just, this time was to decompress and just sit and look and enjoy what I've been working for.
All right, Johnny, you've been so generous with your time. I want to go ahead and plug your products one more time. They're actually linked in the show notes. So wherever anybody is watching this, go down to the description. You can find links to Johnny's aggressive open guard no gi and the aggressive spider guard, both instructional series now on bjjfanatics.com. Johnny, I want to give you a chance right now to plug anybody, your social media, maybe some sponsors, anything you want to say right now, please.
Well, I want to first of all give you a big thanks to you, man, for hosting me today. I really like you, man. Your work is fantastic. You're always studying. You're always looking up. Kind of like a BJJ nerd. So I love it, man. I'm a BJJ nerd too. So I'm
a fanatic. What can I say?
Hey, well, first of all, thanks to BJJ Fanatics for this opportunity to collab and be able to showcase my techniques and my talent. If you guys get the opportunity to get one of my DVDs or two, don't be scared of texting me. Hit me up if you have a question or if it's any topic that you would like to discuss regarding the techniques we learned in that DVD or instructional. And also hit me up if you did a review, because I'm going to send a pack of stickers and some other stuff gifts that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be plugging a website soon with my some signature gear that I'm doing with AMP. And well, I want to give some shout outs to all my sponsors, Albino Preto, Massive Supplements Industry, Fanatics, Red Bowie, Electron Performance. And shout out to you, bro, for having me for this time, dude. I enjoyed it a lot.
Hey, last thing, you were talking about being the first Latin American world champion. I want to give you the chance. Do you want to say something in Spanish to any of the Spanish-speaking jiu-jitsu practitioners that might be listening?
Oh, of course. Just aquí vamos. A todos mis hermanos latinoamericanos les quiero agradecer de corazón. Estoy muy feliz por saber que ustedes me apoyan, que me mandan sus energías, que están ahí pendientes de mi trabajo. Quiero que sepan que trato de ser una mejor persona por ustedes, para darles un buen ejemplo, para que se sientan motivados de que ustedes también pueden lograr cosas importantes y que no importa cuán difícil sea la situación, así estés ahogado en el río más grande o trabado en la situación más difícil, los ganadores nunca desistimos y seguimos adelante. Así que Dios los bendiga y gracias por el apoyo.
Awesome. Man, thank you very much. This is a huge honor for me. Johnny, can I get you to say a huge honor for me?
It's a huge honor to be here with Joe today. Talking about BJJ Fanatics.
All right. I'll talk to you soon, Johnny. Great stuff.
Thank you, brother. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.